welcome to the big game. I'm Taylor Rubach alongside Michael Vincino. On this show, we'll see how Southeastern basketball looks at the end of the regular season.
And we'll also check in with the Southeastern baseball and softball teams to see how they've started the season so far.
But first, we'll look at men's round ball surging toward the playoffs. After a slow start this season, the Southeastern men's basketball team has suddenly won 4 of its last 6 games. Saturday night, the Lions completed a series sweep of league foe Abilene Christian with a 55-54 nail-biter at the University Center. The Lions trailed by 5 at the half but went on a 10-0 run early in the second half to seize the lead. The Wildcats had a chance to win at the end but missed a shot at the buzzer. Zay Jackson led the points with 24 points. Southeastern moved to a 9-17 overall and 6-7 in conference with the win. The Lions have already qualified for the Southland Conference tournament, and our Richard Mills is standing by at the University Center to tell us about it. Richie?
Thanks a lot, Taylor. Now, the Southeastern men's basketball team is currently sitting at an overall record of 9-18, but they've won 4 of their last 6 conference games thanks to the most heightened success from, well, this area right over here on the court. Freshmen Dylan Maggio and Justin Lobel have been coming off the bench all season for the Lions, but now they've replaced veteran guards Josh Fillmore and Andrew Guillory. Looking ahead for this Lions team, they look to catch some much-needed momentum as they go into the conference tournament in Katy, Texas, which begins on March 11th. Back to you guys in the studio.
Right before the Lions started a 3-game winning streak, they fell to arch rival McNeese State 73-60. Our big game reporter Javon Monroe was at the University Center and filed this report.
Despite leading by 1 at the half, Southeastern failed to finish off McNeese State and fell to the Cowboys 73-60 recently at the University Center. The Lions actually outshot the Cowboys 49-39% from the field, but Southeastern turned the ball over 23 times to hand the game to McNeese. One bright spot for the Lions was Anochi Ochi, who had a career high of 19 points. The Lions led by 1 at the half, but costly turnovers and untimely shots hurt them in the second half. Coach Jay Lanner spoke more on the matter.
Execution falls on the head coach, and so I take responsibility for that. We've got to do we just didn't do a good job, I don't think enough good job attacking the zone. When we made mistakes, it was guys trying to make plays or being a little bit impatient. Thought we had some really good possessions against the zone, but the bottom line is we turned the ball over 23 times. They turned it over 7. We ended up losing by 13. We win the rebounding battle by 10. They shoot 39% from the field. We shoot 49%. And, normally those are winning numbers. But the one number there was such a disparity was the turnover ratio. So
the loss dropped the Lions to 2-6 in the Southland Conference. After the game, Latner lamented having to play without sharpshooter Joshua Fillmore and guard Andrew Guillory, but he thought it was still possible for the Lions to make the Southland Conference playoffs.
First thing we have to do is get our players healthy and get our best 5 players out on the floor most of the time. Second thing we have to do is we have to just be more consistent. We're not very consistent, and evidenced by we turned the ball over 23 times tonight against a zone defense. We're just not very consistent in the way that we play. We'll do some really good things, and then we'll do some head-scratching things, individually and as a team. And it's just hard to overcome that.
I mean, at some point, obviously, we're going to have to win a few games in a row to get to the thick of things or to get above water, but I'm fully confident that we can do that, despite everything that's going on. And I won't let the guys start to fade out, and we're going to stay together, even if it kills me.
After the McNeese loss, the Lions have reeled off 4 straight conference wins. They've already qualified for the Southland Conference tournament and are now just playing for seeding purposes. For the big game, I'm Javon Monroe.
Meanwhile, the Lady Lions are trying to finish their first season under Coach Yolanda Moore on the upswing. On Valentine's Day, there was no love lost with their rivals, the Lady Colonels from Nicholls State. Southeastern hit a season high of 15 three-pointers, but they still fell to Nicholls 93-80.
Erica Hernandez and her teammates did their best to rebound against Central Arkansas Saturday night, but came up short 83-65 despite a career night from freshman Taylor Underwood, who had 22 points. Let's go to the game highlights. Abilene Christian against Southeastern Louisiana University. Here, Southeastern strikes early with a three-pointer by Anessa De La Cruz. And ACU's Susie Demba responds with a three-pointer of her own, and the only time Southeastern will have the lead. And Stiles drives and misses the layup, and Nana Poole gets offensive rebound and lays it in. Haskins' steal and a great ball movement leads to a Peaches Anderson three-pointer, and the score is now 16-14. And here Taylor Underwood provides a three-pointer of her own. And Demba was sharp in this game, responding with a three-pointer, but Underwood knocks down another three-pointer. And Anessa De La Cruz with a circus lay-in and the foul. Southeastern trying to stay alive with another three-pointer by Underwood. ACO, though, just too much for Southeastern with back-to-back three-point plays. And from there, it would be all Abilene Christian. Underwood's 22-point performance is not enough to match the monstrous second half of ACU as Southeastern loses 83-65.
Hoping to defend its Southland Conference Tournament championship, the Lions baseball team has jumped out to a 5-2 record to open the season. In the past week, the Lions defeated Houston Baptist 10-4 and walloped Jackson State 19-10 with a 21-hit attack. The Lions of second-year coach Matt Reiser started the season on the right foot with a season-opening sweep of Louisiana Tech at Pat Keneally Diamond. Macy Hill was there and filed this report.
The defending Southland Conference champions, Southeastern Lions, opened the season against Louisiana Tech the same way they left off last year at the league tournament, running the table. Behind timely hitting and a deep pitching staff, the Lions swept the Bulldogs in the opening weekend series at Pat Keneally Diamond. The series opener on Friday night was a seesaw affair that started with a bang. Louisiana Tech's junior Taylor Love homered on the first pitch of the game. But the Lions' Daniel Midget answered with a home run in the bottom of the inning, the first of his career. The game quieted until the top of the fifth when the Bulldogs scored 3 more runs, but the Lions responded with runs in the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th inning for a 5-4 win. Game 2 of the series didn't produce as much drama as the Lions jumped out to a 5-0 lead and never looked back. Southeastern pitchers held Louisiana Tech to just 1 run on 7 hits. Midget put the icing on the cake with his second home run of the series in the 7th inning as the Lions won 6-1.
Expecting to hit home runs, but we put in a lot of hard work in the cages, and it's nice to see some results to go along with that hard work.
In the series finale Sunday, the Lions were looking to sweep, so they sent Kyle Sedetaw to the mound. And the junior did not disappoint, holding the Bulldogs to just 1 run on 7 hits. Kevin Carr led Southeastern at the plate, going 2 for 3 and driving in 4 runs. With the 7-1 victory, the Lions completed the series sweep to start their season 3-0. Head coach Matt Reiser said his team is taking no days off.
Championship ball clubs have to sweep. In order to win a championship in the regular season, that's the only way to do it. And you can't give any of them away. We can't take any days off because that might be the one game that keeps out of regionals from that large bid. So they did a good job of refocusing.
Reiser discussed how Sedetaw has stood out early in the season.
Kyle Sedetaw has absolutely worked his tail off. He has earned that weekend rotation role with number 3 starter. With him being a two-way guy, playing the position and pitching, it's tough on the body. He's done a fantastic job getting himself in the weight room.
Sedetaw was excited to start in the opening series.
It's one of the best feelings in the world to be able to start on weekends in college baseball.
After an impressive opening weekend sweep, the Lions have set the bar high for themselves this season. With less than a month until conference play begins, the Southland Conference Tournament champs have picked up right where they left off. For the big game, I'm Macy Hill.
The Lady Lions softball team under Coach Pete Langlois went 3-3 in their season-opening Lions Classic at North Oaks Park. The wins included a 12-6 victory over Southern Mississippi. On Sunday, Southeastern fell 9-1 to Texas San Antonio at the Roadrunner Classic, dropping their non-conference record to 4-7. In Sunday's game, Katie LaCour went 3 for 3 to up her batting average to 526.
Southeastern's football team will go for a three-peat next season as defending Southland Conference champions. They start working towards that goal today, the first day of spring practice. The annual spring game is set for March 28th. Last fall, the Lions were 9-4 and finished number 12 in the FCS Coaches Poll and number 14 in the Sports Network FCS Top 25. The Lions will open September 3rd against Southland rival Northwestern State University. Coming up after the break, we'll see how Southeastern tennis team is tearing up the court.
And we'll check in with those record-setting weight throwers on the track team. You don't want to miss this.
Welcome back to the big game. Southeastern's track and field team recently traveled to Humble, Texas to defend their Southland Conference indoor title. The Lions came back home with a fourth-place finish, but had record-setting performances in the weight throws. Alex Young set a conference indoor record to win the men's weight throw. Young's throw of 69 feet, 11.75 inches was the best ever at Southland indoors. Jonathan Kinchin finished second and Brett Olson finished third to put the Lions on the podium for the first time ever at the Southland Indoor Championships. For the Lady Lions, Misha Frazier finished second in the shot put and third in the weight throw. She led the Lady Lions to a 9th place finish.
The Lady Lions tennis team, another defending conference champion, got off to an undefeated start to the spring 2015 season. Through the first two matches of the season, Southeastern was 7-2 in singles play, with Renee Villarreal and Lucia Bustamante standing at 2-0.
In golf, sophomore James Anstis made the most of his first tournament. He posted a final round 6 under par 66 to give Southeastern a 6th place finish in the season and opening Bayou City Collegiate at Houston. Both Anstis and senior Grady Brame finished in the top 10, with Brame tying for 7th.
Coming up after the break, Colton Vickers will join us for some pick and roll action, so don't go anywhere.
The Southeastern Channel offers a lot for a sports fan.
Coaches shows, interviews with student athletes.
Football games, baseball games, basketball games.
I enjoy watching the coaches' insight programs after the online tracks because it does give our fans an insight of what happened during the game.
I enjoy watching the big game. You know, it gives me an opportunity to keep up with Southeastern athletics on a weekly basis. You know, not just football, baseball, basketball, but even the smaller sports, you know, like soccer and volleyball.
One of the things I've enjoyed most through the years watching is the production of the glory years.
It's a history, it's a documentation of where we've come from around here.
Solidified the reason why we brought Southeastern football back.
When the Southeastern Channel replays games, it helps the students be able to catch up and see what's going on.
I like to watch the baseball games and the football games.
It's the only time I get to watch Southeastern football is I get to see it on television. I don't ever have time to go.
Even athletics can be an educational experience when you involve the Southeastern Channel.
Welcome back to the big game. Joining us on the set now for some pick and roll is Colton Vickers. Colton, thank you for joining us today on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's get started with some Southeastern sports. Men's basketball. Their Southland record is 6-8. What do you think they need to do to improve that?
Well, first off, they've got a lot of injuries right now, and so they're battling injuries. But I think overall, just stop turning the ball over more, and just we're not producing points on the court like we need to. I think Zay, he's doing pretty good, but maybe he could step it up a little bit. Zay Jackson. So yeah.
Michael, what do you think?
I think men's basketball team is in a good spot right now. They're in the 7th seed, of course. Now, 3 of the 4 teams that they're playing in the next few games are, of course, behind them. So hopefully in the next few games they could win out 4 and make their way into the conference playoffs. Only thing working against those men's basketball team, majority of those games are on the road. So we'll see if they can prove themselves on the road and make their way to Humble, Texas.
There we go. All right. Colton, women's basketball. They lost to Abilene Christian 83-65, which is their 6th straight loss. So what do you think they need to do to improve their record?
Taylor Underwood's having a great season so far. She's providing a little spark here late. They've lost their last 6, I believe, but maybe they could build on her. She had a career-high 22-point game the other night against Abilene. Maybe build off of that a little bit and hopefully make that conference tournament because they're just right outside of the standings, I think.
Michael, what do you think? Taylor Underwood, 22 points, all freshman.
I think she's a great freshman. She's going to be a great, phenomenal starter here for the next few years. Only thing working against them, just like the men's basketball team, is 3 of the next 4 opponents are locked into the playoffs. So, of course, they're going to be facing 3 of the next 4 teams that are the best in the league. And sitting at that number 10 spot right now, 2 games out, we'll see how they pan out. But hopefully we can rely on Erica Hernandez and Taylor Underwood, make our way into Katy, Texas.
All right, now moving on to Southeastern baseball. Their first sweep was against Louisiana Tech, and they lost to the University of Texas 7-0. Colton, what do you think we need to do to stop them blowouts?
The Louisiana Tech game, we had a big comeback. We first pitch of the game was a home run. But I think a lot of that's because there's a new ball they're using in baseball this year. They're very young, a lot of injuries and suspensions, I believe. I think if we can get some confidence wins, like against LSU coming up, and just stop, getting blown out, I think we'll, maybe it'll lead on to down the road in the conference and help us out, help us win some games. It's just confidence, really. I think is all we're lacking.
Okay, and Michael, we had a win against Houston Baptist 10-4, and then we had a loss to Michigan State 9-2, and our record's now 5-3. What do you think we should do to improve it?
Well, starting off with Houston Baptist is a great win. Of course, it's a conference opponent. We have to face them in 3 games later on this season. Hopefully they can pan out. They started off strong. We have great bats, great pitching staff all across the board. We have a great team. It's just a matter of making it happen in that game, being the best team that day. Now, of course, the pitching team, not as strong as we could have been. Some great starters. The bullpen comes in and kind of loses the luster that we're having there. The bats, batting .285 as a team this season. Strong bats, but we always, we're only as strong as our weakest link. So we'll see how we pan out.
All right, okay. I think that's not too bad on some Southeastern sports. Now let's get into some NFL, the NFL Combine. Marcus Mariota. Colton, what's your input for Marcus?
I think he's a great athlete. I think he'll get drafted pretty high. I really think he'll go above Jameis Winston. And I think just maybe the Jets or the Buccaneers, something like, a team like maybe 1 or 2. I think he'll go to. He had I think he was one of the fastest 40 times for the quarterbacks this year, and even in a few years actually. I think he was one of the fastest. So I think he'll go pretty high in the draft.
Okay, and yeah, like he said, Marcus Mariota was high above Jameis Winston. So what's your input on Jameis Winston, Michael?
Well, I'm not the biggest fan of Jameis Winston. Of course, his antics over at Florida State kind of hurt his draft stock. We'll see where he goes because he's kind of seen that he is childish, maybe in the future, the next level of Johnny Manziel. So we'll see. Of course, he's a great athlete. We saw that at the Combine. We saw it at Florida State. He does have a Heisman Trophy to his name. We'll see where his mindset plays out now that he is in the highest level of football in America.
Okay. So we talked about Marcus and we talked about Jameis, but I think all the Lions want to know about Brian Bennett. So Colton, what's your input?
Brian Bennett is just a great guy. If you ever get around to talk to him, he's a nice guy. He had the best. He was a top performer in the vertical jump and the broad jump this year in the Combine. I think a team like the Eagles fits him well. He played for Chip Kelly at Oregon, so that would be a perfect little fit for him. So I think see him to maybe the late 6th or 7th round, something like that.
Mm-hmm. I also seen he ran higher than I believe it was higher than Jameis Winston as well. So what's your input for Brian Bennett?
Well, Brian had a phenomenal workout, phenomenal runs over at the draft combine. Of course, he is a great athlete, and he does have the mindset. Hopefully we'll see him drop down, I'm saying around the 3rd round, maybe to the Philadelphia Eagles and go back to play with his former coach in Chip Kelly. But we all know Brian. He started from the bottom, and now he's here.
Yeah. He did start from the bottom, and now he is in the NFL Combine. All right. That'll do it for this episode of The Big Game. We hope you'll join us again next time for some more Lions sports. For the latest in Southeastern athletics, you can visit www.lionsports.net. For Michael Vincenot, Colton Vickers, I'm Taylor Rubach. Thanks for watching.